at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our daily gun show. We come to you live every day at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's 4 Pacific. For about an hour or 90 minutes each day. We do 3 gun-related topics, different topics throughout the week. We run it live on YouTube, and we simulcast it over at gunchannels.com, where we're watching the live comments that are coming in. So we appreciate everybody that's watching us live. Every once in a while, we'll take the audio and post it over on iTunes as a podcast. So we encourage anybody who's listening to the show now or in the future to leave us some feedback out there. We got 4 hosts. Three of us are here today. We got Bob jumping in from Canada. Thanks for joining. And he's muted.
He's glad to be here.
Actually, he's telling us about how he's about to get a phone call. So we got Dano jumping in from Illinois.
I am glad to be here.
And I'm down here in Arizona. So we're starting something different. We want to welcome everybody who watches us live. We do have quite a few people that join the show every day, and thought we would ask everyone to comment out there on either the YouTube side or the Gun Channel side with what state you're watching from. That way we can keep track of it. Repetition. We get to see where people are from, and then y'all can see where all are from. And of course, when you're down there doing that, you feel free to thumb up the video over on the YouTube side. We always appreciate that. No Smeggy. I don't know what's going on with Smeggy. He's and this time of year is his busy work time, so he's doing all kinds of travel and odd hours. So let's see. Today is episode 352. It's Tuesday, so we do our Second Amendment stuff. Looks like Bob dropped out. We're going to be talking about lawyers writing legislation to line their pockets. And speaking of that, we will talk about money belts in our open segment, and then we'll do the state of Texas as our state of the state. We do our other stuff like the gun shop of the day and the movie and the gun of the day and all that. But before we dig into the show, is there anything, we always take a break at the beginning, see if anything happened overnight that's worth talking about?
Well, I just did want to throw in, we have a couple of people who mentioned Clover Tack is coming from Texas, and Dog Body Official, formerly California, now Nevada. And then we had, the other one was, where was it? I'm missing somebody. Oh,
Tony in California.
New Throne, California. Yeah. New Throne Clay with his state of disrepair.
That is a state.
It is a state. So.
All right. Well, anything happened overnight?
No, I'm not aware of anything today.
Last night was. Somebody's got to echo there. Go ahead and try Dano since you're not muted. So yesterday was Tuesday, and I forgot what hell happened. I had to go do some stuff, and I think there was some chats. I didn't get to see any of those. No, today's Tuesday. Yesterday was Monday. It was Matt's chat. Okay, so Matt had a chat. Then I had to leave. So I'm not sure how HVS's chat went, but the early chat was on earlier today, the lobby. Sean was hosting that. I listened to some of that. And then right before the show, unfortunately, I lost the bid on that auction. So the search continues, except now I have a fistful of money, so we can go out and start looking for another option. But it was an exciting couple of weeks, and an hour ago or so, it was super exciting. So not very many people showed up for the live thing, so I didn't keep it going, but it didn't end on a positive note anyway, so keep looking for that. Sounds like Bob's back though, so I think we can dig into the show.
Hard to say if he's back.
Yep.
I'm back.
There he is.
All right, so Second Amendment issues, lawyers writing legislation to line their pockets.
Seems pretty much what lawyers do, right?
Well, that's certainly our the general perception. But if I were to play advocate for the moment, I would also say, you know, and I know, Bob, you've heard me say this many times, words matter. And that if it wasn't for some very specific wording and the way things are worded, including sometimes their length to cover all the caveats, that's a way of protecting your position, whether it be pro or con to whatever the issue is at hand.
You could be a politician now.
Well, I mean, like in the United States, I don't know what it's like in Canada. We're innocent before proven guilty. And yet we also have the right to a speedy trial. And this is where words matter. If it's too general, a speedy trial, what is a speedy trial? I was in court yesterday, and there were a number of cases going on. And then this one particular case, it will have been a year and a half since the offense occurred. And it's still going on. The initial case, as far as guilt or innocence, and then if it is guilt, what sort of punishment? A year and a half, and it's still going on. And this is not civil legislation, this is criminal.
Yeah, no, it's the same thing here.
But that, you know, that attorney, you know, whether it's just simply stalling procedure or in order to prepare for his case, has been able to keep his client, you know, out of jail for a significant period of time, with guilt or innocence to, you know, to be determined at a later date. Now, is he just simply lining his pockets with his defendant's money, life? There's a lot of time, you know, you go to court for something significant, it's going to cost you, if you're not already well-to-do, it's going to cost you every penny you have to maintain your freedom. Because it costs the state virtually nothing, because the state is us. It's cost us money to keep the prosecution and the system going. It costs the prosecution nothing. They collect their paycheck. The judge, he collects his paycheck. The security at the courthouse, they collect their paycheck, regardless of how quickly or slowly the cases go. So it's the defense that has a motivation to string things out, because their paycheck will end when that case ends. Any thoughts?
I don't know. I think to some extent it's shaking fist at clouds. You know, they're, like you said, you have to be precise in wording, so they have to make it verbose, and because that takes a lot of effort and experience to dig through it all, so it requires, you know, basically a profession to do it, and they end up, like you say, cut out of anything, so it ends up making money. So I don't know. I mean, I guess you could say it's self-perpetuating, but what's the alternative? Having just a, you know, few laws that everybody can understand at a 6th grade level or something? It's kind of tough.
Right. As well as, you know, sometimes when you have, you know, that 6th grade level, you have words that have what I'll call a very wide meaning. They are not specific.
Exactly. You got to even be more verbose in a lot of ways when you're dumbing it down, I guess. You're not using long words. But without Bob here, I don't know where we go with that one. So I don't know. Maybe that's not the best to cover. I'm not anti-lawyer, but I'm definitely not pro-lawyer. So, I mean, I think they're a necessary evil,
Yeah.
unfortunately. When they're good, right? And you just got to
Yeah.
know how. I mean, they're like anything that's a. You know, you just got to know how to treat them and how to work with the system that they thrive in. I mean, we all have to deal with it at some point, even for little stuff, at some point. So, I guess just being aware of it and not just ignoring everything about it, then it makes it a little easier to understand it, I suppose. I don't know. Well, I'm distracted.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry, guys, my internet keeps dropping out.
Yeah, you didn't miss much. That wasn't the best topic, I don't think. So we'll move along. So we're going to move into money belts. Are they still being used today and a viable option to secure your cash when traveling when you have no place to secure your other, I don't know what case means. So before we do, take a break between the first and second segment of the show each day so we can feature one of the members over at Gun Channels. Gun Channels is a place we built a while back. It's a community focused on firearms. Lots of stuff to do. It's completely run by the members, so we like to feature one each day. Today it's TooHotty. Has been in some of the chats recently, and always a consistent participant in the text chat. So again, when we built the place, we anticipated some people would hang out a lot, and happy to have TooHotty as one of those regulars.
And just to clarify, TooHotty is not a young girl, a young hot chick. Because I know some people said, "Oh, I saw the name and thought, oh."
No, he's been around for a while, as well as, you know, he's been in the I've seen him occasionally in the late night chats or the off hour stuff. He tends to be in there quite often.
All right, so with that, we'll move into money belts. I think a money belt is a belt that's kind of wrapped around and has some sort of zipper or something, and then you can store coins or bills in it.
Yeah, I actually had one that was like a Western belt, and on the inside of it, there was a zipper. So you could fold up like, you know, $100 bills or something like that and carry, you know, your majority of your money you could have in that was actually in your belt, just the regular belt you're wearing. It was just, so yeah, it worked pretty cool. Wore that for a long time. Good way to keep your extra cash.
I've not seen a belt like that. In fact, the only money belt that I've seen are the ones, and I don't remember which one it was from, but it was the, you know, the movie prop types.
Yeah.
Where it actually goes, you know, against your skin, and then you put a shirt on the outside.
Kind of like spank with pockets.
But if I remember correctly, and anybody out there, if you happen to know differently, please chime in the comments. You know, it stems from in the times where we did not have electronic transfer. We did not have a way to get large sums of money from point A to point B securely. And so people would have to carry the money on them.
So Dan was talking about this kind of thing, like a little sack that you tie around your waist inside of your shirt, like a travel wallet.
Or it would go like all the way around.
But what we're talking about is this, where there's like a zipper on the inside of your belt, and then you can wad up money.
Oh, okay.
You never seen these before?
Yeah.
They've been around forever.
No, I've not.
Originally, they would just, you'd take your buckle off and it would be hollow, and you'd shove your coins in there, and then you put your buckle back on, you put your belt back on. There's no way for them coins to ever fall out unless your belt fell apart, and then you always have your money in there.
Yep.
But they made those for a long time.
That's
Then
exactly
you
what
can
I'm talking
have a
about.
traveler's check or something in there, or cash, or coins, or whatever, I guess. Jewelry.
Yep. Oh yeah, you could easily put gold coins in there.
Dan was probably talking about something like this that goes all the way around.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's what Dano likes, a little bit of lace.
Let me help you measure that again. Let's make sure that. Let me help you measure that again one more time. I'm going to just help you measure that one more time before we. Okay.
There's something wrong with that guy in the way he's opening his wallet.
Anyway, I think they're worthwhile. I mean, I guess this type, for some reason, they're not doing the kind like a belly band, like what Dan was talking about. They're just doing these little pocket wallets or travel wallets. I think the problem with that, you're either doing this, you're pulling stuff out of your underpants, or you're like digging into your button-down shirt or something. So that would be the issue. Is if you don't want to only use that, because then you might as well tell the world that my money is inside of my shirt. This is interesting.
You
like,
start focusing on that one guy.
This guy, I just saw this for the first time. It's like it's attached to his belt, so he can appendix carry it or something.
Oh,
But that's where you would you have a coin purse, right? That's what they used to have as a coin purse with low denomination coins. Just like I guess nowadays you carry ones and fives and shit in your pocket.
Nobody does
20
that.
or 50 maybe.
Nobody does that.
And then
Nobody.
in your wallet you carry your hundreds, right? You carry
Oh, no, you're talking about $5 coins. I've seen this kind of thing too, where it's almost like a badge holder, except it's lightweight, so you can put it underneath your shirt, and not, it's not that heavy or whatever, and then it's not very bulky either. I think that would be the way to carry your passport around, right? Except criminals probably know that people are doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's how to always have your passport. Because you should, if you're traveling, your passport should be on your person at all times, if at all possible.
Always have your.
Carry it, right? Because that's your only way to get home.
Well, it looks like that's about all they got. Oh, here's one. Putting it on your ankle.
Oh,
I'd be worried about
that. I'm so weirded out about ankle carrier. That just seems so clumsy and I don't know.
well,
Maybe it's just me, but I always feel like I'd be
you're not drawing
like,
a gun. You're just storing your assets.
Yeah, stuff you're not necessarily
but
do out of your second. All right, well, I don't know if we're missing anything. That seems like about all there is here. This looks like some kind of an arm one or a skinny leg one.
Yeah, I think they're still a viable option, and wasn't that the question? Are they still viable? And yeah, obviously they're still being used, they're still being manufactured.
Yeah, if you have issues or with your bank, or let's just say you live in a place where your bank is not handy for you necessarily to deposit or get cash from or something like that, you may want to keep a significant amount of cash on you, and when you leave your home is then vulnerable. So it's almost better if you take it with you, because at least then you can at least defend it. But then carrying it in a concealed way where it's not obvious that you have it.
Well,
I don't know what Bob was saying there, but on the YouTube
nowadays, most of us would carry all our assets, and it would only.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Bob was saying, but Chris was saying he has a sock with a zipper pocket in it.
And he got a phone call.
What do you think about the idea of a sock, though? I remember they used to have shoes with zippers in them. Kangaroo shoes or something.
A sock?
Yeah. Then you can have it on your leg, and it's just in your sock. So it doesn't look like...
Yeah, I guess for small amounts of cash, that would work.
Yeah, gold coins, you'd end up with your socks around your ankles.
Yeah.
But who the hell takes gold coins with them to go on a vacation or whatever?
It's a universal currency.
Take mine to the bank.
All right, well, I guess we're going to keep going then. The dead air tells us there's time.
Wow.
It's over.
This is now let us know that this was the most action-packed thriller of an episode of the Daily Gun Show.
Were there any responses to where are you listening from?
Yeah. I said a bunch of them at the beginning of the show when people answered. But yeah, we were saying at the beginning of the show, chime in with where you're listening from.
So
Anyway.
if you haven't done so, go ahead and throw that in there.
They were saying on the channel side that putting a chain in your wallet, or Bob has a chain in his wallet. But that's I do, and I tether my wallet. Got a little loop thingy on there. I just tie some 550 on there. I know it's not. You know, somebody could cut it, but it's just to keep it like if I'm, you know, come on. If you're even out in a boat or something, I want everything tethered. You know, if I'm out hiking or something, I've lost stuff falls out of your pockets or whatever. So I do tether. I don't know if it's so much security as much as like loss prevention.
Yeah, on a boat, I also want waterproof, floating, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, there's some keychains that have little kind of weird little things that once they hit water, they kind of make gas, so they float. So normally it just looks like a metal key ring thing or something, and then it falls into water, and it can hold up a set of keys. I don't know.
Your robot, Bob.
I don't think he can even hear us saying it to him.
Yeah, probably not.
All right, well, let's move along before people figure out Bob is really just a Canadian robot. All right.
All right.
So we got
Texas. And let me take something here for a moment. That's right. It's time. It's time. It's time for the Tactical Pop Quiz. I bet you never thought it would come along. The most exciting part of the show ever is the Tactical Pop Quiz. And it's here. And Bob's still roboting like a bad man. Oh, he's gone. Okay. All right. G-Webs, are you able to assist today?
Yep.
All right. So those of you over on YouTube and those of you over on gun channels, put your cursor down in the box, limber up your fingers. I will read the question twice. So here we go. And today, I don't think it's an easy one. And this was sent in by Angry American, I believe. So thank you, Angry. The question is, who originally produced the BFR revolver? Who originally produced the BFR revolver? That is the question. Who made the BFR revolver?
No answers yet. It is not the corner shop.
It's not Magnum Research.
It was not Browning. We got an answer over on the
Dog Body, we got an answer. Yes, Dog Body Official, you are correct over on the Gun Channel side. It is D-Max. D-Max is indeed the correction in Springfield, South Dakota. So congratulations, you are today's Tactical Pop Quiz winner. I see Bob is still not back, so I'll go ahead and fill in his shoes and say congratulations. You are today's Tactical Hot Shot for today. Congratulations. Threw my voice out there a little bit.
Yeah, right.
I'm Kermit the Frog. I think I'm okay.
All right. Well, congratulations.
The only reason I didn't throw it to you, G-Webs, is because you've never said anything about doing it, so I figured you probably didn't.
No, I'm not going to do that. So, D-Max.
You're more than welcome to.
Thanks. So, we're talking about the. Man, you had echo and real and delay. The BFR is the big fucking revolver, I think is what it's supposed to stand for, or something like that. Anyway, D-Max was a company that wasn't around very long. Anyway, they also made a couple other cool guns. So anyway, they were a short-lived company. Probably spent too much effort making their guns nice and not production guns, and they just weren't able to scale up, I suspect. But I don't know the whole story, but I have seen a couple of their guns over the years. Kind of neat. Big giant revolvers, and then Magnum Research bought them eventually. I think Magnum Research.
How's the echo at the moment?
Now it seems to have gone away. You don't even have to mute. It wasn't even there.
Okay.
So I don't know what changed there, but yeah, that did it. Thanks. So that was the Tactical Pop Quiz. We try to do those, just periodically throughout the show. We want to say thanks to the people that listen live, and eventually we'll do something with that. We intended to save. We don't get a lot of money with the show, so we don't really do the podcasting anymore. So that hosting bill is down significantly, and we don't do the daily patches, so that shipping is down considerably. I haven't bought patches for a while. So we're not spending any money there. So no one was showing up for the tactical quiz on Saturday. So I don't know if I need to change it to a different day or something, but we'll eventually start doing something with that Patreon income, and that's usually for shipping. So we'll be, again, using the people that, or we'll be watching the forums over there. So when someone wins the tactical pop quiz each day, we send them over to the website, and there's a form they can fill out. We'll eventually start using that again, I guess. We'll keep you in the loop as we know more about what's happening.
Yep, the show will continue to
develop,
change and morph itself as we see certain things are either popular, not popular, etc.
But we do like to involve the audience and say thanks. So that's a way to keep it fun, and hopefully everybody appreciates it, and it's fun to do. So we'll keep on. So today's state of the state is Texas.
Yes, Texas. And normally the way we do this is I do the state of the state, which is the condition of the state as it is right now. And then Smeggy would come on and then do things that are being proposed, the things like that. But Smeggy is not here today. So unfortunately, we will only be able to do Texas partial justice for today. So the state of Texas. There is no state permit required to purchase for either long guns or handguns.
Hold on. We also have an audience, and we saw that quite a few people are in Texas, so they can give us some idea of the kind of stuff that's going through for whatever legislation's on the burner, so to speak.
Yep, and we'll do that as soon as I get through this list. We'll be fishing out for things that are currently in your legislature in Texas, so get ready to type those things in. So, as I mentioned, there is no state permit required to purchase. There is no firearm registration, either handgun or long gun. There is no owner licensing required for either long gun, handgun. No magazine restriction. Looking good. As far as carry licenses are concerned, there is none for long guns, but there is for handguns. But they are a shall issue state, and that's certainly a great thing to have. I know that because we have shall issue in my state of Illinois. Open carry, they have it for both long guns and handguns, although I do want to read a short little ditty here in regards to open carry in Texas. It says, long gun and black powder weapon, including handgun, open carry is not forbidden by law unless in a manner calculated to cause alarm. Now, I find that, we were talking about words earlier and lawyers and things like that. And that's one of those, what does alarm mean? What does cause alarm mean? And I don't want to get bogged down. I just saw that as a good example of what we were talking about earlier in regards to laws and why can't we keep it very simple?
That is a good point, Dano, and that is one of the problems with the ambiguous wording of some laws. It's up to the police officer or whoever to decide, oh, this lady down the street was concerned because this guy had a gun. She thought he might be going to hunt her cats. So she phoned the police and said, there's a guy with a rifle walking down the street. So they get calls like that. They have to respond. Something did happen. It would be a big shit. So, yeah. But and then it's up to the officer to go, is he causing alarm deliberately, or is he just exercising his right? But exactly. It's very ambiguous. Yeah, they can decide to charge you or not. It's up to the officer. That then becomes a problem because it's not a clear and defined law.
Right. Now, our next category is nice to see, seeing within some of the states now, and that's concealed carry on college campuses. For long guns, no, but for handguns, yes. Let me read something here, a little ditty on that. August 1st, 2016, public four-year universities must allow concealed carry in buildings. Universities will be allowed to designate certain areas as gun-free zones on campus. These will be subject to legislative analysis. I assume that means so that they don't abuse it. Suddenly make the whole campus gun-free. The next category is state preemption of local restrictions. That's a yes on both, and that's a good thing. Next, we have there are no restrictions on NFA items, and they do respect federal peaceable journey laws, as well as they have a castle doctrine, as well as stand your ground law within the state, and there is no background required for private sales on either handguns or long guns. And that is the state of Texas. Now, I know if you're in Texas or you live in Texas, feel free to comment with things that might be in place in your legislature in Texas so that we can get it out there for other people to hear.
Yeah, I'd like to know, like Texas, the reciprocity or whatever the hell it's called. I can't say that word for some reason. They're honoring other states' concealed carry permits. How are they on that?
I'm not sure, but we do have a comment here from Clovertac, who's Texas, and he says constitutional carry died in calendars this session, but the license to carry fee dropped from $140 to $40, a move I think to eventually have caliber restrictions for qualifications lifted. And he also mentions campus carry in Texas was passed and in effect now, and he says it seems to be working out pretty well. So, and then just on a related note, Steady mentions that Kansas is trying to ban guns on campus and hospitals. Well, that's a bad sign because Kansas has normally been a pretty pro-freedom, pro-gun state.
Hmm. Yeah, that is
today we're trying. Yeah.
I'd like to have that
and then,
order to drive to Arizona, you know.
Yeah. So if you have any other or aware of anything else going through the House of Texas or to the governor's desk, or is a bill waiting to be heard on, feel free to comment. Now would be the time before we move on to our next subject, which I don't currently have readily available.
What? No, it's the gun of the day then.
All right, what's the gun of the day?
It is the Chief Special Smith & Wesson. It's the coolest gun ever. I just love these little revolvers. They're like little jewels, number one, but they work really well. And like they call them the Model 36 now, but the original name was Chief Special. 5-shot 38 Special. It's small, perfect for pocket carry, everything else. I mean, it was just a really good little gun. Shot a decent round. I mean, 38 Special, like, but it's still a decent round. You got 5 rounds, always works. Very, very reliable. I just think it's a wonderful little gun. Man, I really want one. My brother's got a bunch, and I want one of his. I just think they're cool little guns. So that's the gun of the day, and that's why I like it. What's everybody else think about those little cheap specials. I know everybody's, oh, you just get a Ruger, just get that. The quality of an old Smith & Wesson is just expensive. I've seen them at gun shows, like $200, $300, $400. That's dirt cheap for a real good 38 special that works every time.
That's I had an uncle that was started as a street cop in a suburban Chicago town, and in the late 50s, and by the early 70s he had risen up to the level of detective, and he was still carrying a chief special 20 years after he had started, and retired with that same gun.
Because it worked.
Yeah.
Nice thing about them, they just worked. You could actually hit targets with them. They were, for a snubby, they were decent. And plus the round wasn't brutal to shoot, even though it was a tiny little gun. People loved them, and they did the job.
Right, and I remember, I can't remember the exact question I asked, but I asked a question of my uncle at the time about his carry gun, and he said something to the effect of it was fully capable against the types of criminals that he was most likely to have to deal with.
Yes.
And I think that's why they weren't necessarily back in the 70s or 60s necessarily looking for 18, 20 round handguns, is because the criminals weren't carrying around 18, 20 round handguns.
Oh, that's quite true. Yeah.
And it was the smallest gun that packed some sort of a punch that was currently available. At least an adequate punch to get the job done.
Right, and it was unobtrusive. It didn't look scary. It was this little gun on a, even if you wore it in a holster outside your belt, it was just a tiny little gun, Like, that's my defense.
Both detectives as well as undercover both had to have the appearance of as if they weren't police, even though at least detectives were always easy to pick out of a crowd.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because I was dressed.
And that I found was quite ironic. The other, getting slightly off topic, but just for a moment, that I found was ironic was back in the 60s and 70s when they would have a undercover car that was purchased by the city. They always got the kind of hubcaps that didn't cover the full rim. It only covered the nuts of the rim. And so again, it was usually a certain make and model, 4 doors, and it had what we called doggy dishes for hubcaps.
Yeah, because they made really good dog dishes.
Yeah, I mean, so it was very easy to pick out undercover cop cars.
Oh yeah.
Back then, where nowadays, I see them going, all over the place with Chargers, Mustangs, all sorts of cars, pickup trucks, SUVs.
Oh yeah.
Not just the traditional large 4-door with the big engine.
Yep. Actually, that's one of the things. The one GM car I always wanted to get was, I think it was a 75 Nova. That was a police edition. So it had a I think turbo 400, high horsepower for the day. About 250 horsepower, 350 Chevy, but it had the cop suspension and everything, and the thing was just a brute, but would just run forever. It was simple, and it had the dog dish hubcaps, but it was just the kind of car you could own and it would just keep going forever.
Yeah, I knew.
Hard to find.
There was a neighbor across the street and one house down from me, and I realized now we're not talking about guns at all. But Bob did it, so blame it on him. His father worked for General Motors, And so he got a significant discount off of brand new cars, and had made the promise that if his sons graduated from high school, he would get them a brand new car of their picking. And there were 2 boys, and the oldest boy graduated in 1970, and he wanted a Nova SS with the 454
Nice.
engine. Nice. And of course, immediately got jacked up with 50s on the back. You know, Krager SS wheels,
Yeah.
the whole 9 yards. You know, headers nice and loud, and it was, of course, it was brand new.
Yeah.
And it was just a tiny little car with a massive engine. It's not that it's a tiny car; it's a tiny car for that size engine.
Yes. Yeah. It was an intermediate body with a large engine.
Yeah.
Boats.
But yeah, that was the the end of the muscle car era.
Yeah. What year?
I mean, because they had stepped down from 69 already because of the rolling in of EPA restrictions.
Yeah, up in
so by
Canada.
73, you had my dad had a 73 Charger with a 440 Magnum that only had 220 horsepower, and because by 73 they had rolled in the full effect of all the pollution control devices.
Yeah. But the thing is, the nice thing with the 73s is you could take all the base engine, other than it was low compression, was still built the way the originals were, right? So it still had the big cranks and everything like that. So you could actually, those engines were really good for putting a blower on. And what happened to the gun show? That went way off.
Yes. Well, I figured we would just talk about the muscle car for a little bit, then try to get back on topic here.
Yes. Well, let's get back on topic.
I'm not sure where our co-host went. Have you seen the movie of the day?
Yes. Charles Bronson, Death Wish? Oh, of course.
Well, I wasn't going to mention it unless you had seen it. And I'm not sure if our host is here or not.
Yeah. So every day you try to hit a movie that's gun related, something you might not have seen in a while, or if you're a youngin', something you ain't seen yet. And today it's Death Wish, yes. The first one.
Yeah, made in 1974. For you youngins, starred Charles Bronson, Hope Lang, Vincent Gardenia, as well as others. Synopsis of the movie was New York City architect becomes a one-man vigilante squad after his wife is murdered by street punks, in which he randomly goes out and kills would-be muggers on the mean streets after dark.
Yes, and it was like a shocking movie for the time, right? Because they showed a rape scene that was considered just like over the top.
Well, if you think of the movie, what is it, Going Bad, or the one where the guy becomes the meth dealer?
Breaking Bad?
On AMC? Yeah, Breaking Bad. This was very much like that. Is you had a guy that was just a regular law-abiding citizen, that one day something happened to him, where all of a sudden, granted they went 2 different directions, but all of a sudden they went from being always following the laws, always following the rules that we're all supposed to follow, and suddenly flipped to the opposite end of the coin.
Yep, that's true.
That's true. Charles Bronson became the Avenger, and in Breaking Bad, that guy became the offender.
Well, I mean, Bronson was also seen as the offender. I mean, he was gunning people down. I mean, they all deserved it. But
well, it played both sides of that. Is on paper, again, by law, getting back into that lawyer thing again. Technically, yes, he was the offender. But I would say he was also the avenger. Because all those guys that he had killed had victimized other people, and certainly would have continued to victimize other people if he had not killed them. very very popular movie at the time. You know, has it stood the test of time? I guess that's up to the individual whether it has or not. I mean, clearly it doesn't have the special effects or things that you expect in necessarily movies today. But for a 1970s movie, I thought it was very good.
No, it was. I mean, it was a quality movie, well done. Charles Bronson, he's one of those iconic actors. I definitely give it 2 thumbs up. I loved watching it. Regular type guns and start. It was in the later movies he had the Twin caliber machine gun and shit. But yeah, in this one it was kind of like wasn't too crazy.
Yeah.
I'll give it
William Hendricks says saw Death Wish about 2 months ago. Still a great film. That's on YouTube and then over on Gun Channels. Dog Body Official says Bronson is hands down one of the most underrated stars of the era. And and then he also says Bronson didn't need no stinking CGI. I like that. So, G-Webs, have you had a chance to see it, or were you a little too young at the time?
No, I've seen it plenty of times. It's one of my favorite movies. So I think it holds up real well. I think Bob's right, though. The rape scene is crazy. I mean, and nobody really does that kind of stuff. It's pretty crazy.
Right.
Anyway, I always like it. I think we've talked about it before. They talk about Tucson in it. The guy goes to Tucson for a while, so that part of it hits home. So it's kind of out here. Plus, I always say when we built gun channels, I built gun channels originally, with the idea in mind of that gun shop that the guy from Rockford Files takes him to in Tucson. That like gun club where you just go in because you're a member and there's just guns on the wall, and if you want to shoot one of them, take it down. You go over to the lanes and you shoot it. And then when you're bored, you take it back, you clean it if you want. There's a table there or a couple of tables, and just kind of a cool place to hang out and enjoy firearms. So I figured this is the electronic version of it. The gun channel is the electronic version of that gun club.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll definitely give it 2 thumbs up as a movie for you youngins that may not have seen it, or maybe if it's been a while since you look at it and are trying to scratch your head and think of something that you might be interested in catching, definitely do a go back in the Wayback Machine and check out Death Wish.
Yep, 2 thumbs up here as well. One of my top favorite movies.
Yeah.
It's because he's a New York gun hater, and then he, turns into vigilante guy. It's a neat. You don't see that often. Well, I guess you see it all the time now, but it was a good version of that story.
Right. So
yeah, I don't know what's going on, Bob. So we'll keep going. Normally we would do a gun shop of the day. I think today we're going to do Michigan gun shops. We've talked about a few of them. Obviously, there's a lot of gun shops in Michigan, but we'll do that some other time with Smeggy's here to give us more input on it. With that, it's Tuesday, so you missed the Andalusia Armory show that was on right now. We encourage you to take some time to listen to that show whenever you can. Nice thing about putting things on YouTube, and the same thing with gun channels, is that they're there. So even if you miss them live, you can go back and listen to them. Our show is on our Gun Channels page on the Daily Gun Show over on Gun Channels. So you can listen. If you miss it live, you can always listen to it at some other time of the day. Anyway, so Andalusia Armory was on just now. Hit or Miss should be on in a moment with, or maybe in an hour, I guess. We're cutting a little early today. And then Rick in North Carolina does his Big Gunner show tonight as well. So stay tuned for that. And then, no, not today. So tomorrow, Jimmy will be doing the Early Watch show. It's a long format show during the daytime hours over on Gun Channels. A lot of people show up and listen to that. Actually, Gun Channels become more of a daytime community with Jimmy's input there. But we'll be back tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's 4 Pacific to start out the evening shows tomorrow. We'll have Clover Tech on tomorrow as well, with Matt on Never Enough Ammo. Our show tomorrow will be episode 353. It'll be Wednesday, so our entertainment day. Talk about gun magazines again. We haven't talked about those in a while. Our good idea, bad idea is guns in hospitals. And then probably we'll do the hashtag Daily Gun Show Showdown, where we take a look over on Instagram, the people that are using the hashtag Daily Gun Show. So stay tuned for all that tomorrow.
All right, and I'll be filling in for Bob. Anything else before we wrap things up?
Nope, that'll be it.
All right. We always like to end the show with a quote. Today we have one from Alan Dershowitz. And let's see if I can get this to work here. There we go. And today's quote is as follows. Foolish liberals who are trying to read the Second Amendment out of the Constitution by claiming it's not an individual right or that it's too much of a safety hazard don't see the danger of the big picture. They're courting disaster by encouraging others to use this same means to eliminate portions of the Constitution like don't like. And with that, I will thank you for listening, and please be prepared.
The guys and gals of gunwebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching gunwebsites.com.
Climb to the belly, show money in your shoes. Women in the belly got them deep and I'm blue.